Hello, guys. Hello, sup and hi. But you're wondering who this sexy bastard is. This is Abba, my cousin.
Hello.
My cousin Abba. Yeah, so today we're going to show you how to make some Akara, it's called. It's a West African, because I know Nigerians and Ghanaians make it as well.
They have something similar, but I don't think it's exactly the same.
I think it is. It's almost. I feel like they maybe add like a pepper to it as well when they blend it, but we don't.
Some paprika they add.
Yeah, and things like that. So I think that's the only difference, really. But we're gonna show you. I don't know if you remember. I tried to make it with thin beans because I thought I was onto something. I thought I was being all smart and stuff to make it quicker. But you do have to follow the normal process because the tin ones are too wet, and therefore what happened in mine was it dissolved. Basically, it just dissolved in the water. So we're gonna do the proper way. The reason why I asked Abba to do it is because she's an expert. Every time she do it, it comes out perfectly. Watch it not come out perfectly this time. It comes out perfectly and it tastes amazing. It is very simple. It's just a process. It is a long process, but if you just follow it through, it's actually quite simple. Literally cleaning the beans is the longest part of it. But once that's done, everything else is pretty much really easy. I'm gonna show you as well. In Gambia, and I don't know if they do in Senegal, but they normally have it with like an onion sauce. It's very simple, but it's so nice together with like some bread. Or whatever. I've never seen it eaten with anything other than like in a sandwich type thing.
Yeah.
So that's the only way I've eaten it. So it is vegan as well. So if you're vegan, yay! Not the healthiest because it's deep fried. We're gonna experiment today though.
Try put it in the oven.
Yeah, and do some of it in the oven and see how it comes out. You know, you don't try these things, you'll never find out. Because otherwise it's not unhealthy, is it? It's just beans. But it's the deep frying it that makes it unhealthy. Alright guys, let's get going.
Let's do it.
Okay guys, so here are the beans. We've already started to sort of rub them together to try and get the skin to come off. What we're gonna do is that you can see the blender here. And we're gonna try and blend it for a bit. Just to make it easier. But normally you can peel them individually or rub them together and you will basically get the skin floating to the top, but that seems a little bit long, I'm not gonna lie. So we're gonna try it that way and then see how that goes.
This could be the ride that could kill me. This could be the ride that could kill me. Baby, are you ready to be guilty? Baby, are you ready to be guilty? I'm not a bad man, but I'm filthy. I'm not a bad man, but I'm filthy. You better come clean when you feel me. You better come clean. Can I say, baby, good morning? Can I see your body yearning? Can I give you that one touching? Can I give you that good loving? Can I say, baby, good morning? Is your body yearning? Can I give you that one touching? Can I give you that good loving? Oh, baby, can you wipe on me? Oh, baby, can you bother me? I like the way you comfort me. Oh, baby, it's like you murdered me. Can I take you away, nah, nah, nah. Can I take you away, nah, nah, nah. Can I take you away, nah, 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 nah. Take you away, nah, nah, nah. Mr. Loverman, they call me. I can show you things if you wanna see. A little more power, what do I breathe? What is real love about a wifey? A little love from me, now I can complain. It's fine, girl, body be insane. I right around now, when she call my name, she better know that I'm coming fully waved. Back it up here and put it on me. If you want, I go be your bestie. Rude boy, the girl them love me. Are you the one I need it quickly? Make us school you, baby, be ready. I can turn you to a real bad girl. Body snatch you. Baby, all I need is that freak from you. Oh, baby, can you wipe on me? Wipe on me real slow, baby, do it on me. I like the way you comfort me. Pillow talking what we do and see. Can I take you away, nah, nah, nah. Can I take you away, nah, nah, nah. Can I take you away, nah, 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 nah. Take you away, nah, nah, nah. Can I say, baby, good morning? Can I give you that one touch? Yeah. Can I say, baby, good morning? Can I give you that one touch? Yeah. This could be the ride that could kill me. Baby, are you ready to be guilty?
All right, so Abba's done an amazing job. They're actually done now. Do you want to show them the, what's it called, Abba?
The beans, they...
Yeah, they're done. They're pretty much completely clean. Well, they are. If there is the random one, that's fine.
And then we're just gonna blend.
If there is a random one, that's fine. And yeah, if you want to freeze it, some of the beans, Abba was just telling you, make sure to like they're completely dry. That's why I have the paper towel. But I think we're gonna end up using the whole thing, to be fair. Yes. I think we're gonna end up using the whole thing, to be fair, because it's not as much as we thought. But you want to freeze some of it. If you've got to this level, make sure the water's completely out of it. Otherwise, it will be too soggy when you're trying to use it next time. All right, so we're gonna blend it all now. I was just using some measuring jugs so that you we can obviously, it'll be easier for you guys to follow the recipe, because normally you just go it by eye, but for some of you doing it for the first time, you may need some more accuracy. So in the blender we have 2.5 cups of beans.
Yeah.
And we're gonna blend.
Yeah.
Baby, are you ready to be guilty? I'm not a bad man, but I'm filthy. I'm not a bad man, but I'm filthy.
150 ml of water. You're gonna add all that water in there.
I just wanna add it slowly.
You wanna add it slowly. What are they looking out for?
So it just becomes like smooth.
Just until it becomes a smooth consistency.
You better come clean when you feel me. You better come clean. Can I say, baby, good morning? Can I see your body yearning? Can I give you that one touch? Yeah. Can I give you that good loving? Can I say, baby, good morning? Is your body yearning? Can I give you...
Going.
So you should add it about 150 ml of that all the way up to here of water.
That one touch, yeah. Can I give you that good loving? Oh, baby, can you wipe on me? Oh, baby, can you butter?
Alright, so it's just blending now. So me and Abba are gonna change because we realized that we're gonna go to the cinema later and we're wearing our cinema clothes. We don't want that to stink of fry up and onions. So we're gonna go change into like some home outfits. Alright guys, so we are, because that blender was struggling with life, so we've moved it to my smoothie blender to get it even smoother.
I like the way you comfort me. Oh, baby, it's like you murdered me. I'm gonna take you away, nah, nah, nah.
So now we're adding the salt. And Abba's just adding about 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Maybe half a teaspoon. There we go. Alright, let's put that in first and then put the blender on again.
Can I take you away, nah, nah, nah. Can I take you away?
So what we're gonna do now is do the onions. We should have done that before we did the beans actually. So when you do it, because it takes a while to cook, because you have to cook it down for a while. You will see when it's done, you will see what the end result will look like, so you know what to go by. But we ended up with about 12 onions because it does
small though.
Yeah, they're
very small.
They're very small. Let me show them. That's the onions. So we're just gonna blend them. And so it's about actually 12, not 10.
Yeah.
About 12 onions that we're gonna cook down, and then we'll show you. But again, do that before you do the beans. All right, so that's the pan we're using. So you need quite a lot of oil. I would say that's enough though.
A little bit more.
A little bit more.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
now.
good. I know it's a long.
It's very unwholesome.
Oh, no.
And then once the oil is hot, we've got the onion there. and we're just gonna pour that in there. We've only done half, and then we'll blend the other half as soon as we've poured that in. So check our sexy outfits, guys. So we've changed, and we're looking rather scrumptious.
Yeah, not gonna lie, it's a look. It's a look.
We're looking rather scrumptious, but yeah, you need to protect the hair because that's where the first place that the smell goes up to. And obviously, I'm just wearing a long top, and I've just given her one of my long tops. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna do the onions now.
Na 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 na. Take you away, na na na. Mr. Loverman, they call me. I can show you things if you wanna see.
Did you guys hear that? She added a little bit more oil.
Because I was thinking by the time we blended the second batch of onions, it would actually be like twice the amount. So.
Probably.
Little more power, what I breathe. What is real love about a wifey? A little love from me.
You just want to stir the sauce occasionally so that the onions don't stick to the bottom of the pan and burn. Because it's going to be cooking for a while. So
in case you didn't hear that, you just need to stir occasionally so that the onions don't stick to the bottom of the pan while it's cooking. Currently, it's still on the highest heat. So it's going to be on the highest heat pretty much all the way throughout. So I was just chopping up some Scotch bonnet. So with the Nigerian ones that I've seen, I think they add all the seasoning into the akara, but we put pretty much all our seasoning into the sauce that goes on the akara rather than on the akara itself.
But then you want to blend, it will be easier to blend the Scotch bonnets with the onions.
With the onions, so we should have blended it with the onions. So do that if you're doing it.
Complete. It's fine, girl. Body be insane. I ran around now when she call my name. She better know that I'm coming fully waved. Back your top here and put it on me. If you want, I go be your bestie. Rude boy, that girl them love me. Are you the one I need it quickly? Make us school you, baby. Be ready. I can turn you to a real bad girl. I won't body snatch you, baby. All I need is that free from you.
So we've just added two Maggi cubes to the sauce.
So hot.
Careful, Ida's burning herself there. Yeah, so just giving it a stir. We're also going to add some of this, which is Eno chicken stock cube. I think about 2 of those.
Well, just remember as well to taste it as you go. Yeah. Because we've done this so many times, we know that we can add that without it being too much. Just remember, if you're doing it for the first time, to just put a little bit at a time and then taste as you go, rather than end up putting too much.
And you do want the sauce to be a little bit...
Shake it.
You do want the sauce to be a little bit saltier because it's basically essentially all the flavouring, since we haven't added anything to the akara except for a little bit of salt.
Yeah, exactly.
So you want the sauce to be quite flavourful.
Yes. Alright, so we just added one of the chicken nor cubes, and I was just going to add a little bit of salt. No, yeah, about a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Stir, 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 stir. Alright, I'm just sprinkling some polbad, which is black pepper in Wolof, in it, and I think that should be alright. Just a tiny bit. I would say that's again about a 1/4 to about 1/2 teaspoon. And this smells delicious.
When the sauce is about 3/4 of the way done, then we'll start frying the beans.
We are getting there with the sauce. It's not long now before it's done. We added some water to it. I would say about 1 cup of water to that. And turned it down to number 4. We turned it down quite early on actually because our stove is quite hot. Sorry, just keep steaming up here. Our stove is quite hot, so we have on number 4. We turned it down quite early on. So maybe as soon as we've added the seasoning, I would say add the water and then turn it down. Excuse Abba's noise, she's doing the dishes in the background. Alright guys, so we've just added some water to that. I think maybe about 1 minute after we added all the seasoning, we added about 1 cup of water and turned it down to number 4 because it was burning the onions. And now it's been cooking for about what, 20 minutes. Alright guys, so this is pretty much done now. This is what it looks like. There was definitely way too much oil there, so I'm gonna pour some of it out. Just hold the camera for us. I've just got this little bowl and I'll pour it in there for it to cool down and put it in like a plastic bag and chuck it.
Oh baby, can you wipe on me? Wipe on me real slow, baby, do it to me. I like the way you comfort me. Pillow talking what we do and see. Gonna take you away.
So even though it's cooked in oil, you don't end up actually eating that much of the oil yourself. So it's still not obviously healthy. I'm just gonna turn it off now completely. Because it's done. Yeah. So as soon as that cools down, because the plate is really hot now, and as soon as it cools down and I feel like it's not cooking anymore, I'll just put it at 1 just to keep it warm while that's cooking. But other than that, the sauce is done. Do you want to just show the sauce? The sauce is done. This is what it looks like. And if there's a lot of oil when it's done, you can just do what I did. So I'm gonna wait for that to cool down because I can't chuck it now. And then I'll just pour it in plastic bags to chuck in the bin. Don't ever pour your oil down your sink if you don't already know that. I feel like this is a fact most people know, but don't ever do that because it's bad for the environment, 1. For 2, it will also probably most likely clog your pipes. Okay, Abba's just whisking the bean butter now. Do you want to just show them the consistency real quick?
Just
to show them what consistency they're looking at. It's like child's food, isn't it? Like a
yeah,
puree type. Yeah.
It looks like garlic puree actually.
Yeah, it looks like, I would say that's exactly. So Abba's just whisking it because as I said, it makes it fluffier. And then we've got the oil that's hot. It's not on the highest. It's about just before the highest, I would say.
There we go.
First one. So we've just turned the oil up. Always do a tester. We did that one first. As you saw, it didn't really look hot enough. So we've just turned it up and then go. Normally we do it on the pan. So it's experimenting doing it in the deep fryer. Okay, so that's better.
Yeah.
We're getting a bit of a sizzle going on.
A bit of traction there, mate.
Take you away, na na na. Can I take you away? Take you away, na na na. Can I take you away?
Ooh, it looks so sexy. You be looking all sexy and stuff. Alright guys, so there's our tester for the oven. I've just reused that oil I've just poured from the sauce. What I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna put a little bit of oil in these. So we're gonna do 4. And then I'm just gonna move the oil around inside. I'm gonna just put it in the oven like this. Let it get hot and then put the butter in and then see what we come out with. Alright, so we've got the first one. And we're just gonna taste the salt before we do the rest, just in case we need to add a bit more. So we just try the piece, the first one, before we do the rest, just to make sure that the salt is enough. Alright, so we just tasted the first one and it was perfect. The salt was perfect. Be tempted to add too little salt, then end up with too much salt, because if you add too much salt, you're gonna ruin it and it's too much big of a batch and everything will be a waste of time. So we've added a little bit of salt. And then taste it, and then if you need to add more after you've done the first try, I'll do that, but I would recommend not to add more and then focus more on the flavor of the sauce, because the beans I feel like suck up quite a lot of salt, but that tiny bit of salt that we added to it was perfect. All right, so we've got that out of the oven. I'm just gonna put about a tablespoon, so about the same, but that's not hot enough. When you try and do it, make sure the hottest oil. The oil is hot because our oil is not hot enough, but I've come too far now. I've come too far to go back. We'll do it like that. Put it in the oven. Put it in the oven at about 220. and let's see how our experiment goes in the oven. So that's what they look like. We've just sprayed some of the spray light so that it won't stick, and we just turn them over, and then we're gonna put them back in the oven now for a little bit longer. Here are the oven ones. So it was a little bit, it's very dry on the outside. It's a lot more crispier, and it's not cooked thoroughly all the way inside. Let me check another one. See, this one looks a little bit better, but considering how long it's been in the oven, it was in the oven for like 30 minutes, and it's still not fully cooked, and it takes about less than 5 minutes to fry some. So it's clearly longer. Taste-wise, the fried ones definitely taste a little bit better, but it doesn't affect it. I think maybe because it's a bit drier. I think maybe because these ones are a little bit drier, that the deep fried one tastes a bit better.
Maybe try cooking it on low temperature. So
that's what I was thinking, yeah. So maybe I was thinking to cook it in a lot lower temperature, so that it can cook on the inside before the outside gets too crispy. We'll have to try that again another time. But for now, we're sticking to unhealthy deep fried ones, which is so good. So good. Alright, so that's how you do it. You put your sauce. The sauce is extremely hot. Put your Akara, however many you like. Normally you have sauce on both sides, but I'm gonna do it. The sauce is very spicy though, so I don't know how brave I'm feeling. And then you can add ketchup or mayo if you like. So it's almost like a bean burger when you think about it. And that's how we eat it.
The end.
So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed having Abba with me in the kitchen. It's been a bit hectic because we're not used to filming each other, and obviously, well, she doesn't normally cook in this kitchen. Yeah. But I think it went well.
Yeah, we made it work.
No, there was no arguments or anything. But yeah, that's it. That's how you make it. It's very simple. It's very straightforward. It's just maybe the process is a bit long. And it's absolutely delicious. I'm gonna try this actually. Oh my god.
I'm just
Alright. I'm gonna go eat now. Bye. Bye. What do you think? What do you think, Bam?
Oh, it's delicious. I've got it all over my beard.
No, you don't.
kill me.
You don't have it on your beard.
Yeah, no, it's delicious.
Is it good?
Yeah,
Do you want more sauce?
More sauce. No, this is perfect.
It's such a simple recipe. It's basically beans, black beans and salt, the middle bit, and then there's just onion sauce. Oh,
So no meat.
Zero meat. It's basically a vegan dish.
What is this?
It's delicious, isn't it?
See what happens when you come to our house, Abba. Yeah, no, it's very nice, very nice. How long does this take to make?
Well, it can take quicker, but the bean itself takes a while. But because we were filming today, maybe that's not what to go by. Shadow, can he just eat and then get back to you? Such a little hussy, aren't you? Look at her. She just want to find a way to get you to you now. Back in it.
She play me like some Baltimore, like some Baltimore. Rolling with guys I don't know.